Hello and welcome to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel for our weekend preview. And it's not just a weekend preview, it's the November meeting at Cheltenham. A fantastic three-day meeting there at Jumps HQ. Really looking forward to this. As always, I'm joined by Jack after a big weekend with the Breeders' Cup. A fantastic live show we did, Jack. Really enjoyed the evening and plenty of views on the video as well.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thanks to everyone who came along and commented and got involved. It was a brilliant night, and luckily we even banged in a few winners as well. So we both landed on Navan next best. Doesn't usually happen, but there we go. So hopefully a few more at Cheltenham this weekend.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Mine's now switched to the jumps and plenty of top quality action, graded action coming on all 3 days of this meeting. We're going to be previewing just a few of the races. Any of the other races that Jack and I both like selection, you'll probably end up seeing on our personal Twitters as well. So do follow us if you want to see those. But we kick things off on Friday, and we're going to look at the 330, which is the Ballymore Novices Hurdle. It's a Grade 2, registered as the Hyde Novices Hurdle. It's over 2 mile, 5 furlongs, and Herms Allen is 3-1 favourite for the Informed Nichols team. We've all been caught 7-2. Hebrisco 4-1. Music Drive 9-2. Quid Quad Pro is 10-1. Collector's Item 14, and Getaway Drumley 40-1. It's a bit boring, Jab, but I quite like the favourite in here, the Nichols trained horse, Herms Allen. And look, the last 14 days, I mentioned in form, but Nichols is going at 43% strike rate at the time of filming, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Now, this horse here was a 27th length winner at Stratford and won in a canter the last day. And look, we don't know what this 5-year-old's beaten so far, but he did look very, very good. He was actually a purchase of I think it was 350,000 at the Tattersall December sale back at Cheltenham in 2021, and was a decent point score over in Ireland before being sold. And look, got the inform Harry Cobden on at the moment, who I describe as the best jump jockey going, but opinions are opinions. There are plenty over on the other side of the Irish Sea, but I just love Cobden. I think he's always in control and he's a top jockey. The Twist and Davies horse is bound to come on for a hurdle, I'm sure. We haven't seen this horse since March, so you'd say match fitness is probably on the Nichols horse side. Music Drive stayed on strongly the last day. I get the angle for people who like that, but it didn't catch my eye enough to be liking the horse in here. And Hebrisco is Mullins. You never know what you're going to get with a horse like this, but stepping up in trip here behind Champ Kylie in Brazil over 2 mile Tipperary the last day. Big eye catcher for those who would say, look, worth noting went up in trip, and this is what we see here. So I'd say Hebrisco's the danger jab, but I like the favourite in here, Herms Allen for me. What about yourself?
Yeah, you've also got We've All Been Caught. The Tristan Davis horse, who's only running a bumpers, had loads of money come from him into about 7-2, drifted a little bit. Now Hebrisco's been declared, but I mean, he looked absolutely massive in the bumper. I'm not sure if you watched it, but he looked so novice-y. It kind of looked like he didn't even realise he was a racehorse. But he got the job done, beat Collector's Item in the process, who he reopposes today. Collector's Item, of course, has gone out and won since, albeit not in a great time. But McFabulous won that bumper in the past. I'm not saying he's going to be any McFabulous, but look, I don't think it's too much of a betting proposition. Herms and Allen recorded quite a nice final section at Stratford as well in that romp. So, and what I liked is his jumping really improved throughout the race. First few hurdles, he looked a little bit novice as you'd expect. I mean, on only his first run over the obstacles. But look, I mean, I think he did it in good style. I mean, hopefully he'll come on for that. I mean, as I said, his jumping improved throughout the race. So Briscoe, will he stay, is the big question. I mean, he's related to Rossini, who won over 2 mile 5 over fences. So you'd like to think he hopefully would be able to. Didn't really have the turn of foot of Champ Kylie at Tipperary last time out, but travelled really nicely and 2 out. Looked like he could have been the winner at one point. You got the likes of Collector's Item, I've mentioned, who's a brother to Royal Kahala, who won last time out. And as you said, Music Drive, who stayed on into third last time out at Cheltenham. It'd be a very Gordon Elliott thing to do, to go and lose that and then come win a graded event. Look, it's a very, very, very trappy contest, in my opinion. If I was going to stick my neck out for one, it'd be Herms Allen, or perhaps a reverse forecast of Herms Allen, Hebrisco, which at the moment 3-1 joint favourites. You get about 6-1 for your money. So yeah, it's a very tricky race. Hopefully, Herms Allen will be able to do it. It does remind me a little bit of last year. When Paul Nichols obviously sent a few, and of course he's recording as you said, 40% strike rate in the last 2 weeks. So hopefully Herms Allen will be able to go in.
Yeah, Jack and I agree with that. Herms Allen may be the one to beat, and Hebrisco is the danger. So maybe the two that I'd be looking at in that race, but I'd love to see Herms Allen could be an absolute superstar of the future. Let's go on to Saturday then, where we look at the opening race. I think it is the 12:35, which is the JCB Triumph Trial Juvenile Hurdle. This is registered as the Prestbury Juvenile Hurdle, Grade 2 again. We haven't got the betting as of yet, but we've got the likes of Medyaf, Blue King Daru, Mr. Freedom, Perseus Way, Scriptwright, Tuddenham Green, and many more in here. Perseus Way, I mean, I've probably got to mention it with a Carrymore Juvenile, haven't I? But I'm not going to be putting this horse up, don't worry. But it's an ex-Owen Burrows trained horse. And after the Newbury win, it was interesting to hear Owen Burrows' quote. I'll read it now. That Jim said he'd get as far as you'd want. There was talk of Gary Moore having him to go jumping at some stage. We're waiting to see what he'd do today, because if he was well beaten, he might have gone to Gary sooner. We just got away with the trip today, and he's a bit of a grinder who will appreciate more given the ground. So if there's given the ground there, you're sure to see a Gary Moore Juvenile. He does so well with these. You're sure to see that run well. But I don't know whether the price is going to be good on this chap, but Medyaf may be the one here. Look, the last two starts has looked really impressive. Already had 2 starts in the last 50 days. So again, a match fit horse, and has a combined winning distance in those 2 races of just under 40 lengths. Beat Tuddenham Green the last day at Wetherby. Look, it's not a confident selection. This isn't a race that I'm definitely going to be playing. I mean, I'll be looking to see the prices first of all when they come out, but I'd imagine Medyaf may just be the one to beat for myself. What about you?
Yeah, I think this is quite a good race. Of course, you've got Blue King Doro as well, the French recruit for Paul Nichols. So I think maybe going to the French 3-year-old champion hurdle instead. If he does come here, I'd be very tentative backing him. I mean, he was beaten by Losange Bleu in France, who's one of France's leading 2-year-olds. But it just reminds me so much of Magistrato last year, who came over from France, hacked up, was a 6-4 favourite for the same owners, and got beaten quite comfortably. And was beaten by a Milton Harris trained horse. And of course, Milton Harris has one in here in Scriptwriter, who was rated 102 on the flat with Aidan O'Brien, won really well last time out at Sedgefield. I mean, it wasn't a bad time as well. Kind of stretch clear in good style, edge clear in good style. Hit the line with plenty of conviction. I think there'll probably be more to come from Scriptwriter. I can imagine he'll probably go off favourite. And if I'm being honest, wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Freedom actually got the better of Medyaf. Of course, Mr. Freedom, Medyaf and Tuddenham Green were all very closely matched last time out. But I thought Mr. Freedom was actually travelling the best when he was slightly hampered by Tuddenham Green. Ran out at the second last. It would have been interesting to see if he'd be able to have actually go in there. But of course, he's a lot more experienced. He's not as aesthetically pleasing on paper, but I thought he jumped well and I thought he travelled the best of them. So I'll be looking at the prices, but for me, it'd be between Scriptwriter and Mr. Freedom.
Scriptwriter and Mr. Freedom for Jack in the Triumph Trial there. And we move on to the big handicap of the day. It's one of my favourite races of this side of the year anyway. It's the 220, the 2.5 mile Paddy Power Gold Cup handicap chase. It's Class 1 handicap, and the betting looks like this. French Dynamite 5-1, Galore 6-1, Stolen Silver 7-1, Il Ridotto's 10-1, Midnight River 12-1, Happy Go Lucky 14, and 16s. Barjack. There was a lot of talk about Editor de Gite on the Breeders' Cup live video. I think the finishing line came on and made a case for this and said this would be the best bet of the meeting. I don't know whether we know if he's definitely going here or taking on the Schleur, which I mentioned may be an option for him at the start of the season. But who's your fancy in here?
I've got a couple. I understand the French Dynamite angle after his run behind El Barra. I kind of understand the Galore angle as well, but I'll be backing a couple who always go well here, and that's Stolen Silver and Golden Galahad Quest, who are 7-1 and 16-1 respectively. I mean, Stolen Silver was edging in the right direction as a novice last year. I mean, his second to Editor de Gite, when Editor de Gite was only off 140. He was beaten the neck that day at Cheltenham. I thought that was an unbelievable run, considering Editor de Gite is now rated £13 higher. So giving him £5 and finishing a neck within him, I thought was a great performance. Of course, he was 4th in the King Henry VII. He ran a great race from 4th in the plate at the festival and then topped it off in April by absolutely dismissing Simply the Bets, who of course ran a great race in the New Year's Day chase last year, beating him by 11 lengths. Not a luxurious price, 7-1. I think a mark of 150 in a handicap, probably be to the maximum of his capabilities. But look, he goes well fresh and hopefully will be able to go well here. And the other one, of course, Galahad Quest, was 5th in this off £4 lower. Won the Triumph Trial here as a 4-year-old. 6th in the New Year's Day chase. 2nd in January. I mean, he's always coming. He's always staying on at the line. I mean, he was 2nd to Flicker Voyou last time out at Chepstow. And hopefully he'll be able to grab a place. He's 16-1 at the moment. I think that's quite good if they're offering 5 or 6 places.
Yeah, I completely agree. I like Galahad Quest percent for each angle. Not my main selection though. I can understand, like Jack said, with the money for French Dynamite, a Grade 3 winner over fences as a novice, and at Punchdown back in April, like Jack said, ran behind some decent chasers, including El Barra. The hurdle start most recently, another one where you'd probably say that's to get this horse match fit for something like this, but did actually win that in decent enough style. But the horse I actually like, and I don't know if this horse is definitely going to be going, is Happy Go Lucky, who I find absolutely fascinating in here for Kim Bailey. It's been quite a while since we've actually seen him. Last saw him I think it was at the Grand National Festival 2 years ago, winning a handicap chase there. And prior to that was second in the Ultima. That was behind Vintage Cloud. Now, it looks like a mark of 151 could be... It may be difficult for a horse like this, but look, his record fresh suggests he'll be absolutely fine. In 2020, off a 230-day break, he won by 6.5 lengths. And in 2019, he won off a 328-day break by 11 lengths. So I wouldn't be too worried about that. 10 jump starts, I believe, in his whole career. Been outside the top 3 once, I think, where it was 4th in the Martin Pipe. I may be wrong there, but I think that was the case. Look, a beautiful horse. I'm very excited to see him on return. I don't know if we're definitely seeing here, but 14-1 about Happy Go Lucky. That'll do for me. But yeah, Jack made a good case for Galahad Quest. It'd probably be my second pick in here. So Happy Go Lucky and Galahad Quest for me, and Jack will be with Stolen Silver and Galahad Quest as well. Let's move on to Sunday. A nice swift preview today. Like I say, you'll get other selections potentially at the end of this preview and also some extra ones on our Twitter platform. So on Sunday, we look at the 145, and here we go, the Schlur Chase. This is registered as the Cheltenham Chase, a Grade 2 over 2 miles. I'll read the betting out, Jack, because this is your race to really talk about. Edwardstone's 4-5, Nube Negra is 6-4, Editor de Gite 7-1, Sizing Potsy 14-1, Numitor 16-1, and 66-1 about the other two. Jack, this race last year brings back so many memories. I think I remember the selfie picture that you put up on our Twitter of you and Nube Negra after he'd won this fresh. Tell us a bit about Nube Negra and tell us a bit about who you may fancy or may not fancy in this race.
Oh, what is there to say about Nube Negra? I didn't know this makes a 3-4 hour podcast. Look, he's a Spanish-bred superstar, isn't he, Nube Negra? Should have won the Champion Chase back in 2021. Didn't win it. Could have won it this year, wouldn't have done on the ground. Then got withdrawn because of the ground. Absolutely hacked up in the Schlur Chase. Disappointed in the Tingle Creek. Disappointed in the Celebration Chase. Loves being fresh. Loves Cheltenham. He's 6-4 at the moment, which is an interesting price, it's fair to say. Edwardstone, of course, the 5-4 on favourite. Your Arkle hero from last year. Didn't quite continue that form at Aintree when consummately beaten by Gentleman Demi. But look, I mean, after last year, it's hard to oppose Edwardstone. Am I going to try and oppose him? Yes. Am I at 6-4? No. I don't think there'll be many runners whatsoever. I think Nube Negra would quite like an early pace. He's got a very high cruising speed. He's a great traveller. I mean, throughout usually the last quarter of his race, he's travelling. He's completely on the bridle at the rear of the field. Harry Skelton's rarely moving. If he touched 2-1, I think that'd be a great price. But then again, Edwardstone, I think, would have to be backed in, and I think the field would have to stack up. And I don't think Editor Jeet's going here. Don't know if Ganapathy's going here. Wouldn't be surprised if there's only 3 or 4 runners. If so, I don't really know if that's going to play into Nube Negra's hands because they won't want to make all. I still think he retains so much ability. I know lots of people have given up on him, but look, if he touches 2-1, it will hopefully be the Nube Negra show. Will I be vouching for him and backing him? Hopefully.
Okay, well, Edwardstone is an interesting one, Jack, in here. I mean, the one thing to mention is the Arkle win, and we know that Arkle winners going into a campaign where they head towards the Champion Chase usually have a good chance in Champion Chase. But is it fair to say that Edwardstone was probably one of probably not the best Arkle winner, let's say?
Well, it was a very weak division. You look at Gabanaco and Blue Lord and Warlord in behind. It didn't look like a very strong division last year, did it, with the lack of Fernie Hollow?
Yeah, would you, with regards to this race then, with Nube Negra coming fresh, we know how well this horse goes well fresh, and potentially how vulnerable Edwardstone could be going into open company here. Are you saying if this horse does reach 2-1, then it's a bet for you?
Yeah, 100%. I think people think he's been about the block so many times. He's only an 8-year-old. And he hasn't had too many runs as well, considering he loves to run fresh. So, yeah, at 2-1, he's definitely a price for me.
Yeah, and we'll probably end up getting a selfie of Jack with Nube Negra, especially if he does win. And you'll be able to see that picture. I'll make sure that it's put up in our ante-post series that will be launching on Monday at 6:30 in the evening. You'll be able to see that on Monday evening. Our ante-post series with Jack and I, we have one a month where leading up to the Cheltenham Festival, we'll give you a few selections, hopefully build a decent portfolio with some nice bets moving into the big festival in March. So don't forget to check that out Monday at 6:30 p.m. Let's go into the final race we preview from Cheltenham. We are going to look at one race from Navan on the Sunday, but we're going to look at the 255, which is the Unibet Greatwood Handicap Hurdle. This is a Premier Handicap over the extended 2 miles there at Cheltenham. And Thousand Tears has been well back during the week, 4-1 favourite. Dad's Lad is 11-2. Sonagino, who's had plenty of mentions already, I think, on this podcast this season, at 6-1. I like to move it 8-1. Gin Coco and Nina the Terrier, 12-1 and 14-1, and bigger the rest. Now, I've spoken to you already today, Jack, and there's a horse I absolutely love in here. Really like this horse, and I pray she runs. And I actually put this horse up when Charlie was on the show for the Charlie Hall meeting. And that's Nina the Terrier. Now, I would love to see this horse win a race like this. Now, she actually fell in that Bet365 Mares hurdle at Wetherby behind Molly Ollie's Wishes and Martello Sky. She stays on a mark of 131. Now, the winner of that race, Molly Ollie's Wishes, is now rated 146. You may not agree that that's too high or not too high for Molly Ollie's Wishes, but I've watched the race back 3 times this afternoon, Jack. And all I'm saying is, as they come into that bend and Nina the Terrier is 5 lengths off them, as she jumps, I think it's the second or third last, she definitely was there to make a challenge. And with we know this horse stays further than 2 miles. I just think that this horse was going to come and win it. I genuinely think this horse was going to win that race. Now, some people may disagree with me there. And off 131 in a race like this, and a race that Alan King does love, he won it with Elgin a few years back, a horse that I was a massive fan of. I'm a huge, huge fan of her. Now, the mare's novice hurdle run, you'd have to try and put behind you. That'd be your only concern. Does she like the course? Because that was very disappointing when she was well supported that day. But she may have come back a completely different horse this year. Second behind Sonagino prior to that run at Wetherby, and gave away £12 that day. Now Sonagino has to give her £2. And I'm adamant that the prices are completely wrong. A lot of supports come for Sonagino, and I think Sonagino is a fantastic improving horse, don't get me wrong. But that £2 that now has to be given to Nina Terra, I think she's the wrong price. You're going to get extra places at the weekend, probably sort of 6-7 places with some bookmakers, I'd imagine. And I just don't see how she'll be out the frame. Hopefully I've made a decent enough case there, Jack, for Nina Terra, and you can probably get it.
Yeah, no, I completely get it. She probably is quite well treated at 131. She stays further than 2 miles. I think the fast pace of the Greatwood should be staying on. I think you do need to stay further than 2 miles if you're going to win the Greatwood. I think all the elements are there, and I think 12-1 is an okay price. I wouldn't say it's an amazing price. I know she was 25-1, 16-1 earlier in the week. I'd happily take her over Sonagino at half the price. As you say, I think it's a £14, £13 swing in the weights for a 2 3/4 length defeat on Sonagino's first run after a wind up. Look, Nina the Terrier was quite unlucky last time out. You think she's got to be well handicapped. The one thing I would say about this race, I don't think there's that much value looking at it now. Thousand Tears and Dad's Lad, I will happily let either of the Irish lads win that and not back them at 4-1 or 11-2 in a 19 or 20 runner Greatwood. But I just don't think there's too much value in there. Gin Coco, we're not too sure if they'll be seen there. And the one I've landed on is a different kind at 16-1, who I did put up last year actually at Cheltenham in the January meeting to beat who was it to beat? It was to beat Hillcrest. That's it, when Hillcrest unseated. Hillcrest unseated at the first or second. I thought, we're going to be quids in here. He's gone off at 10s. He finished third of 6th. I thought that was a great chance for him to do the business. But he showed plenty of ability last year as a novice, was nowhere near in Grade 1 company when last of those who finished at Aintree. But then last time out at Aintree, over 2.5 miles, travelled delightfully, jumped beautifully, I thought, over 2.5 miles, round the outside of the field as well. Had to cover more ground than all of them. Was staying on at the line, and unfortunately was done in a head bob by Pekin Rose, another yard, and he would have won that. He's been put up £3 for that. I think he's still quite well treated of 136. He's very unexposed. He is 3 from 6 over hurdles as well. Again, like the Nina the Terrier angle, he's going to be staying on at the line. Hopefully he'll be in the frame at a double figure price. It will be a different kind for me.
A different kind for Jack there in the Greatwood. So 2 at a price there, I'm going to be with Nina the Terrier, one of my best bets of the weekend, and Jack will be with a different kind. So there we go. Let's move away from Cheltenham now. We'll look at Navan for the Grade 2 there on Sunday. It's the 155, the Railway Bar Lismullen Hurdle, Grade 2 over 2.5 mile here. It's always a good lead in this for a lot of Stayers Hurdle contenders, and we see plenty of Stayers Hurdle contenders line up in this. And you probably imagine that a lot of these could be at the top of the market come the Stayers Hurdle in March. And Flooring Porter's the 15-8 favourite. Zanna here 5-2. Bob Ollinger 3-1. Ashdale Bob is 5-1. Commander of Fleet and Tiapu 8-1 and double figures bar these. Do you keep this simple, Jack, and back last year's Stayers Hurdle win, or do you back the hype horse going over potentially further trips in Zanna here?
I don't back anything, I think. I think it's definitely a watching brief look.
It's a belter, isn't it? It's a belter of a race.
Pardon?
It's a belter of a race, isn't it?
Oh, it's an absolutely cracking race, providing they all turn up.
Yeah.
Be great to see Bob Ollinger do it back over hurdles. That would be remarkable, wouldn't it? Even the likes of Delta Welk, I don't know how many are actually going to be declared looking at them. But look, Cider Burley, of course, finished a distant second in this last year. If the Flooring Porter, we all know, turns up, Flooring Porter wins. Let's not get it mixed up here. I mean, of course, fell last year in the Lismullen, but I mean, it's just so consistent at these staying trips. And you'd like to think if he is on the song, Gavin Cromwell's going to have another winner. He goes all right fresh. He's not his best fresh by any means. But look, I think the Lismullen, for him, it's by no means a penalty kick, looking at the likes of Bob Ollinger or Zanna here and there. But I won't be opposing him with either of them. And hopefully I'll sit back and watch Flooring Porter do the business.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement with Jack there. It's going to be interesting seeing Bob Ollinger back over hurdles if that is the case come Sunday. Zanna here, I can understand this angle of going into sort of when this horse does go up to 3 miles, you can see that this horse could be a Stayers Hurdle contender, but they've all got to beat Flooring Porter, ante-post favourite for the Stayers Hurdle. There's not much in the UK that's going to be able to challenge this horse come March, I don't think. And look, hopefully he goes and does the business and then could win the Stayers Hurdle once again in March next year. So we'll have to wait and see there. I have got a Napa next best for this weekend, Jack. You haven't, but you have got a few other selections that you'd like to give us. Maybe you can give us a best bet out of the ones that we've previewed for now anyway. Yeah,
the best bet I'd probably say Stolen Silver in the Gold Cup.
Okay, and what else should viewers potentially backing this weekend?
I mean, as I was saying to you, Sam, I really want to get my nails stuck into, my teeth stuck into, sorry, nails? Who's talking about nails? My teeth stuck into the handicap hurdles this weekend. And the first on the Friday is one that I've been scratching my head over for a good while. Astergar's been installed as your 4-1 favourite after 600 days off for David Pipe. And if he can go and win off his lowly mark, then fair play, but I will not be backing him of 4-1. There's a couple that I'll probably be backing in that race, and that's Hector Javalex, who was 5th in the Persian War last time out over 2 miles. Didn't jump very, 2 mile 3 anyway. Didn't really jump very well, but won at Ludlow on his previous start, and he jumped lovely. So hopefully, I mean, slight step back in trip, will be able to sort out his jumping. I mean, he didn't jump too great, but from a time perspective, it was quite a good time. If you compared it to Napa's Hill, who won the Silver Trophy, I mean, he would have finished 6th in the Silver Trophy, which is by no means a bad effort whatsoever. So hopefully, Hector Javalex is 11-1 at the moment. That's not a bad price. Now, Alvaro is the other one who's currently 12-1. I expect him to drift a little bit for the McNamara team, who's just been as consistent as anything. So he's staying on at the line, and hopefully over 2 mile 5, Alvaro will be able to go well. So it'll be Hector Javalex and Alvaro in the first on Friday.
There we go, a couple to try and kick off the meeting with a bang for Jack there. So that's on Friday in the opening race. So Jack's given his best bet, probably is Stolen Silver. My nap's going to be Nina the Terrier in the Greatwood. I really think she's going to run big race. You've got to kind of forgive potentially the fall and also a Cheltenham form if you're going to be backing her. But I just think that, potentially could be chucked in off 1-3-1 in a race like this, in a race that Alan King likes to have horses for. And the next best for me, I'm going to put up Banbridge against Montmoral. Which may be a risk because Montmoral has been obviously the big hype horse over a fence, but jumped well and made all at Gowran Park the last day. We know this horse gets a trip, won the Martin Pipe obviously last season. I just think that this horse may even decide to make all in this race here, which is the Arkle Trial. I just think that could be very interesting placing here for this horse. I know it's been well backed from sort of 7s all the way down to about 7-2, but I'd probably be taking a chance, and I'd say Joseph O'Brien's runner could run very well in the Arkle trial. I think, is that on Saturday? Am I wrong? Or is that?
It is, yeah. It's on
Yeah.
Saturday at. I'm not actually too sure what time it is, but yes,
It
on
is
Saturday.
on Saturday, yeah. But yeah, I'll be taking on Mummer out with Banbridge, but Nina the Terrier will be the nap. There we go. That's it for this week. Like I said, you can check out all of our other selections on our social media platforms. Jack and I will not be back with our next video on Thursday next week. We're going to be back on Monday night at 6:30 for the Cheltenham ante-post series. A couple of selections each to kick off our ante-post book for the meeting. And then we'll probably be back, I think, next Friday. We've got the Betfair Chase next week, have we?
I think
Is that
it
right?
is.
I might be, yeah. So we've got a big Grade 1 to look forward to in the return of Aplutar next week, which will be really exciting. So hopefully you have a successful weekend. Let us know down in the comments who you'll be backing at Cheltenham this weekend. And we will see you on Monday at 6:30 for our anti-post series. Thanks for watching.